The Premier League has been taken over by mega spending, but Brentford are different. They're built on smart scouting, data analytics, and using the Moneyball way. They have quite simply defied the odds in real life to be a top 10 Premier League side. And now we are doing a full realism rebuild in FM24, but on a completely updated database. And of course, we want to make it even more challenging, so today we are using the Musterman attributeless skin. That means we're judging players purely off data, stats, and scouting reports. Exactly how the real-life Moneyball method works. And the mission is simple, to turn Brentford into Premier League champions and European champions. So welcome to the Brentford FM24 Moneyball full realism rebuild. And without further ado, let's get into it. This rebuild is going to be absolutely insane because we have no access to attributes whatsoever, which makes it even more fun. Now, as mentioned, we are on a fully up-to-date database as of the 28th of August, but don't worry because I heavily anticipated Johan Visser leaving the club. So he is up on the transfer list and he will be leaving the team, so don't worry about that. We're not going to be using any in-game entity today at all. We are just going to simply sell him to the first team that comes in, and I'm also going to give myself a chance to sign a striker, but I'm going to use real-life data to actually sign the striker, and it's a guy that moved in real life. As we're going to go ahead and sign Georges Mikatudze from Olympic Lyon, whose analytics stats were unreal in real life. Linking up the play, scoring goals, he was simply fantastic and has got himself a move to Villarreal. And that was also on deadline day, so I hold my hands up. Apologies, I did not expect this guy to move, but he's going to be joining here at Brentford for a record fee of just 10.75 million. Yes, we are going to keep fees as low as possible in this rebuild, but mainly what we're looking at is players which are having unreal data analytics, players that are suiting the Moneyball criteria, and I'm going to go through and show you each individual player we signed today, how I signed them, why I signed them, and eventually how we built Brentford to be Premier League champions. Now, I am on the best, in my opinion, database possible for FM24 going to FM26. It is the Sorted Out SI database, but today we're here to talk about Brentford, and we're here to see if we can turn them to the best team in the Premier League once again. Ignore Ivan Toney up there. Trust me, he's not of the team. And now that Georges Mikatudze is up front for us, we can go through the system we are using. I simply asked ChatGPT to build me a realistic Keith Andrews 4-2-3-1, and this is what it has come out with. Now, obviously, Keith Andrews only been in charge a couple of games, and they look decent enough, Brentford, considering they've lost Mbumo and Visser. There's no surprise they're going to struggle this year, but they look like they could potentially stay safe. Now, in goal, the new signing of Xiaomin Kelleher is here, with Coyote at right back, Rico Henry at left back, Pinnock and Ajer as the two centre-backs, Yano and Henderson in DM doing their respective roles of deep line playmaker and ball winner, Ouattara on the left-hand side, fantastic signing from Bournemouth, Kevin Schade on the right-hand side, Damsgaard in the cam role, and Mikatudze up front. But there's a lot of players on the bench which are going to get an insane amount of minutes. Now, right back position, well, also left back, Aaron Hickey. He can do both, and I'm sure throughout this video and this season in particular, he will do both. In centre-backs, Vanderberg and Nathan Collins, who, again, I'm sure will play lots and lots of football for us. Onyeka and Matthias Jensen as our two midfielders. Keane Lewis Potter, who will certainly be playing for us, is here. Anthony Malambo as well, brand new signing. Fabio Carvalho and Thiago. Now, it's a bit difficult to see the fact that all the current abilities and potential abilities are all updated on this database. So someone like Anthony Malambo is actually going to be really good in the Premier League, but his stats are attributeless. So we technically don't know that, but I am on a database which tells me that players that have performed well in real life will be better in this version of FM. So expect players like Malambo, players like Cole Palmer, who at the start of FM24 were rubbish, are now absolute superstars. But that is pretty much enough about this Brentford side. This season in the Premier League, we're just expecting mid-table mediocrity. We've just lost Mbumo and Johan Visser. I've done no transfers other than a new striker myself, and we are predicted to come down in 16th place. I'm not surprised in the slightest, to be honest. If this is where Brentford finish in real life, fair play, because they've lost two absolute superstars. It'll also be interesting to see how Football Manager predicts this season to go in the Premier League. Now, obviously, there is no Isak at Liverpool. He is still at Newcastle. So that's one thing that isn't updated in this database, which is a little bit annoying. But every single video going on from here will be on the fully updated post-summer transfer window database. So if you guys like the sound of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And obviously, over 70% of you are not subscribed. You might think you are. Have a little check down below. If it says subscribe, hit the button. It helps me out massively, and we're looking to get to 20k by FM26. But enough ramble, enough waffle. Let's get on to this first season with Brentford, and then we can really start moneyballing. And this season has gone better than I ever could have expected. We lose Brian Mbeumo, we lose Johan Visser, and all of a sudden we become an even better side. And a lot of it was down to our brand new striker signing, Georgios Mikatudzi, which looks like a stroke of genius, and I completely respect the fact they weren't able to sign a striker in real life, with Visser's deal coming down to the last 30 seconds apparently. But we're on Football Manager, and it's not my fault that Brentford couldn't bring in a striker. The rest of the team, though, was also outrageous. Damsgaard in the cam role was brilliant. Ouattara on the right wing. And with Mikatudzi, he was a goal scorer from anywhere. Free kicks, penalties, in the box, all long-range efforts. He was simply fantastic. And that was a game against Nottingham Forest, a team which, let's be honest, got European football last season and just got beaten 4-0. And it was goals where we really excelled. The joint 4th best team in the league this year, up with Arsenal, which is a super exciting stat if you are a Brentford fan. But it was defensively where we let ourselves down just a little bit. We kept a whole host of clean sheets, which is fantastic, but conceded way too many goals when we were conceding them, which maybe comes down to the quality of our defenders. You can see, looking into the average rating of our 4 defenders that mainly started the games, Rico Henry was brilliant at left back, Aaron Hickey was brilliant at right back, but at centre back, both Ayer and Nathan Collins did struggle a bit with a 6.76 and 6.85, and Chelman Kelleher with a 6.92 is very decent, but looking into his more stats, he didn't exactly do very well, and expected goals prevented, his saves per game weren't very good, and his goals conceded weren't very good. He was just really good on the ball, which massively helped him out. So that's something to keep in the brain for the summer transfer window. But the question is, will we be in Europe? No. Despite finishing 7th place with Brentford, which normally is a European spot, 15th place Newcastle end up managing to win the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup and get Europa League football, which is an absolute joke. 56 points, 7th place, normally there. We've just battered Forest 4-0. They somehow finished on 68 points. A really good back-to-back season for them. Despite also being in European football, they've managed to somehow do really well. They got all the way to the semis and lost. Oh, they got to the final and lost to Salzburg as well. So Forest needed an astronomical season, just falling short. Man City winning the league and Erling Haaland grabbing 36 goals, and Tierney Reindeers grabbing the most assists. This database really is probably very, very realistic, other than the fact actually that Pep and City are down in 12th place and the mighty United are up into 8th. But anyway, ignoring real life football, Sunderland relegated bottom of the league. Now this is without all their crazy deadline days transfers like Brian Brobby, Gertruda, etc. So no surprise there. Bournemouth relegated on 29. I think it's potentially time they do go down. And Burnley also having the drop on 31 points despite winning 3 of their final 5 games for them. Leeds safety on 44 and Manchester United down in 8th. But that is it in terms of the season. It is now time to concentrate on signings and what I am looking to do. Now, if you guys don't know how I do Moneyball, it's pretty simple, to be honest. I've got loads of videos on the channel explaining how to do it. Just last week, there was an Ultimate Moneyball guide where you can download all of these filters and all of the lovely views that the legend Icy created, so you don't even have to export into Excel, which for this rebuild, I won't be. I'll be doing every single bit of Moneyball here in the game. So I'll be able to look for box-to-box midfielders as I want to in Football Manager, using all the different stats that we need to look into. So I'm going to go and get my Moneyball hat on, and I'll come back and I'll explain every single transfer that gets into the first team, and hopefully we've built a team which can go for Europe while not losing too many stars. Well, the window started off with just a bunch of different players going out on loan, which was fantastic. And then as we got to June, we got absolutely torn apart. Rico Henry, Lewis Potter, Chelman Kelleher all off to Saudi. Fabio Carvalho left to Bournemouth. And we were left without a bunch of first team players, but that did raise over £150 million. But of course, that is a goalkeeper, a left back, 2 wingers, and many more areas of the team to improve. And we managed to keep the spending just around 70 million, meaning we made £80 million profit. Now, the first position I ended up improving was the goalkeeper spot. Kelleher leaving so late on left me without so many options, but Senna Larmans, who is just signed for Manchester United in real life, was available from Royal Antwerp, and he had a fantastic season at Antwerp as well. And the big change was expected goals prevented. If you remember, Kelleher's was 0.01 negative. This guy's is 0.3. Good clean sheets, good goals conceded, not too many saves, but he's proving that he doesn't let in a lot of goals which should go in, and he cost us only £10 million. Next up was the winger position, and it's Ruben van Bommel. Now, this guy is a fantastic wonder kid on FM, and has been for the whole of the FM24 cycle. But now at 21 years of age, he has become a star player at PSV, and his stats as an attacking midfielder are simply fantastic at goal scoring and goal creating actions. You can see his goals, shots, non-penalty goals, expected assists are all brilliant. His progressive passes are decent, and his tackles won percentage is really good, which means he's going to press from the front like a madman and cost us only 15 million. In terms of a backup striker, I wanted someone to come in to be a clear number 2 to Mikatudzi, so we signed Yusuf Badji from AGF. He scored 13 goals in 18 games last season and cost me just £3.2 million. If he doesn't work out, we're a Premier League side. Of course, we can sell him for a very similar value. He's got a great goal percentage and great shots, so he's a man that really is a fox in the box. Moving on to wing-back, we are going for one of the most attacking players possible in Lucas Ezekiel, who's cost us just £5.5 million. He's got unreal dribbles, progressive passes, and expected assists as a young left-back, costing us just £5 million from Brazil. For defensive midfield cover, I have gone with 5'11" Fidel Ambriz, costing me just £3.4 million, who's great at winning back the ball as a 4th choice DM. And then I've dropped down into the Championship to bring in 2 young English stars. Number 1 is Jerson Rak-Asaki, a young attacking winger who has got exceptional wide threat here on the Musterman skin. Unbelievable dribbles, passes completed, shots, goals, and non-penalty expected goals. And this season at Birmingham, 15 goal contributions in 38 games. He is obviously a Crystal Palace winger, and I decided to try and be a little bit realistic, head down to the Championship and see if we can pick up a star who's really excelling in one of the hardest leagues to do it in on Football Manager. And he's done that. So he joins us for 18 million. And then for more fullback cover, we signed Kellen Fisher from Norwich. He is a standard right back who's great at going forward with good expected assists, 11 assists in 46 games for Norwich at 22 years of age, costing me £23 million. Which means that your new look Brentford side looks a little bit like so. Now, we've decided not to improve on the centre-back positions because I believe Collins and Ayer can do it, and there wasn't enough market value out there to really improve them. Hickey and Coyote are going to stay as our starting wing backs. That does mean Kellen Fisher and Esquivel are going to be our backups, which I'm really happy with. In goal, of course, Sen Lamon comes into the team to be the new goalkeeper. And in DM, Henderson and Yano are certainly starting there rather than Fidel Ambriz is going to be a rotation option. Our main player coming into the team this year is Ruben van Bommel on that left-hand side, moving Dango Ouattara onto the right-hand side so we can cut in on that dangerous left foot. Mikel Damsgaard in the cam role was brilliant last season, and of course Georges Mikatudzi stays as our starting striker. In terms of our rotations, we now have Raksaki, Kevin Shard, Melambo and Badji as our attacking options, and Breeze and Onyeka as our midfield options, Esquivel, Pinnock, Vanderberg, Fisher and Valdemarson as our defensive options. And I am really confident of how this team looks going into the next few seasons. In terms of the season preview, we are still down in 14th place, but when you're a Moneyball side, well, you're always going to be underlooked. You're always going to be undervalued, and we're always looking to overperform. And after being ripped apart last season, anything which resembles last year would be a massive overperformance. And we started the season 3 wins out of 4. We then only lost 1 game in September and 1 game in October before a 5-game losing streak against Villa, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal and Manchester United. Some would say to be expected. Facing up against the bigger boys, we certainly struggled, but against the smaller teams, we were proving we were more than up for the fight. And even by the back end of the season, we were starting to give it to the big boys. We were starting to progress as a side, and we were starting to see some of them younger players really turn into superstars. A Ruben van Bommel goal gave us a 1-goal lead against Spurs before Kevin Schade makes it 2-0 in 75 minutes. We ended up winning this game 4-0 in the end, which is absolutely wild. And the game after this, we managed to beat Manchester City away at the Etihad 2-1. And one of the star players this year, Ruben van Bommel, was a huge reason as to why. Kevin Schade whipping it into Mikkel Tutsi to grab the fourth in what was an unbelievable season for Brentford, considering a negative £80 million transfer spend. Safe to say, we were fantastic. Our defending had managed to improve ever so slightly, which, considering the fact we brought in a £10 million goalkeeper and sold a £40 million goalkeeper, is pretty impressive. Now, we're still about average in conceded per game and kept a few less clean sheets, but we were fantastic on the press. And once again, we were right up the table in terms of goals scored, this time on 68, just 15 away from being top of the table. And for me, my favourite thing is that we weren't even like right up there in shots for. We weren't even in the top 8, which just means we were being clinical with our chances. And once again, a reminder, net spend negative £45 million technically, and we were 19th place this season, and our salary per annum is also down at 19th. So really, anything other than relegation is good, right? Well, how's 7th place? Once again, but this time securing Europa League football. 59 points, an improvement on last year. 18 victories, 5 draws, and 15 losses. 68 goals scored, 57 goals conceded, and having Georgia's Mikkel Tutsi be 4th place in the top goal scorers charts. He has been a fantastic signing for us. As a striker this year, 20 goals and 2 assists, and is really good at keeping hold of the ball. We expected him to be good at that with his high assist ratio in real life. Last season, he also grabbed 18 goals and also grabbed 2 assists, and his value is now up at over £30 million, and he cost us just 13. So we've done really well at finding a good value player in the market. In terms of players this season that massively impressed me, well, of course, it was Ruben van Bommel. 17 goals, 8 assists, a 7.13, and he was better than I ever could have expected. I mean, as a striker, as a forward, I suppose is maybe what he comes under. His dribbles are fantastic. Possession one's fantastic. Expected assists are fantastic. And again, now value of £31 million. We signed him for 14 from PSV. Yarmouk is someone that I'm interested in bringing back into the side. This year, he had a fantastic loan spell out at Derby in the Championship. A 6.99 average rating, 43 games, 11 goal contributions. Similar to Jerson Raksaki. I think this is the sort of guy I'd be looking to sign as a rotation option player, so I'm certainly going to keep an eye on if we can do that. Raksaki played 19 games off the bench for us this season. No starts, sadly, but 2 goals, 1 assist, and a 6.97. I think it's safe to say he was a brilliant sign for us and has kept all of his value as well, which is fantastic. And Ouattara, a 6.98, 12 starts, 26 to the bench, but being that impact sub on the right-hand side, that dribbles of 4.35 per 90 is absolutely insane. And financially, we are just doing absolute wonders here. Now, obviously, we're down at the £40 million mark. We made all of our sales, and we are now up at £154 million. The board have given us £125 million if we want to go and spend that, and 200k in wage budget. Now, of course, we're doing a Moneyball rebuild. We're not going to go wild and spend all of that money, but we are going to be making some big signings this summer. And I do think there's a few positions that we're going to be certainly improving. So when offers came in for both Aaron Hickey and Mikkel Damsgaard, raising us £85 million, I definitely didn't stand in their way. Aaron Hickey, 45 million, a fantastic deal for us. And Damsgaard, 40 million, is pretty decent. And considering how good Yarmouk was in the Championship, I'm happy to promote him into the first team and give Milambo that starting cam role. So he spent £38.5 million on 4 new stars. My first one was the brand new left back for just £6 million, Bradley Loco, coming in from Stade Brestois on a 7.05 average rating, 2 goals, 2 assists, but fantastic progressive passes, dribbles, passes completed, possession 1 as an attacking left back in Ligue 1, a 7.05 average rating, £6 million. I mean, I had to stamp him up instantly, and luckily enough, he chose to join us. And my main other signing was Bulgarian centre-back Valentin Antov, who was fantastic at ball playing and really good defensively as well. The good thing with the attributor skin is you can see certain stats that players are good in. You know, the different, there's like a key which you can see with the excellent is 16 to 20 in this bolder gold. Good is the sort of bigger red, and then it goes down and down and down. And you can also see in development and reports, I believe, somewhere. Once someone is fully scouted, you can see sort of a nice little bar chart of where they stand out as different players as well. And at 6'2", Valentin Antonov comes into the team and adds something that we haven't got in our defenders, really being able to be key ball progressors. And that kicked off the switch in being able to play ball-playing defenders rather than central defenders, which I think will be a massive thing for how we concede goals. I think rather than trying to pump it long, as central defenders often do in the match engine, we should be able to play it short and keep the possession. The team looks very good and very different. There is also a brand new striker at the club who will rotate with Georges Mikatudzi. It's Dion Drena Bellio. This guy scored 17 goals in 31 games last season for Dinamo and has cost us just £6 million. And our fourth and final signing is Juan Diego Castillo to be a backup goalkeeper, a 7.03 in Portugal. £2.5 million comes and joins the mighty Bees. This is the team that's going into European football this season, hence why we needed that little bit of improvement with a brand new good rotational striker, a better backup goalkeeper, and now a superstar centre-back. The season preview, I have no doubt, is going to be harsh to us, still down in 14th place, but once again, a positive in terms of raising more money than we have spent. And this season, I really think we can try and tick off the first goal in this rebuild of becoming European champions. And Europe is where we are going to concentrate this season, because if we can become European champions, it'll be a massive step on the path of this video. And in the league phase, we finished down in 10th place, 5 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses against Midtjylland and Bayer Leverkusen. Which meant if we wanted a chance of getting European qualification this year, we were going to have to win this game against Lille. And we got off to a pretty bad start. We lost the first leg 1-0 and went 1-0 down in this tie as well. But we would never give up. Ouattara found Mikatudzi a ball into the box, and new left-back Bradley Loco fires home to make it 2-1 on aggregate. Henderson whips it in. A great header from Mikatudzi makes it 2-2. And late on, in the 80th minute, Michael Kayode down the right-hand side gets all the way to the byline, cuts it back, and Yarmouk was there to make it 3-2 to win us the knockout playoff round. It's not much, but it's thank God we're through it. We're going to go to the round of 16. But we were facing up against Juventus, one of the best sides in Italy. And a great ball from Van Bommel found Dango Ouattara to make it 1-0. And we grabbed a second as well as Ayer linked up with Coyote on that right-hand side to whip a ball into the back stick for big man Mikatudzi to fire home. Now, Juventus did grab a goal back. And in the second leg, we managed to draw 2-2. But that was that. We managed to win the tie on aggregate. And then the quarterfinal seems to get easier. We faced up against Club Brugge, a 1-0 victory in the first leg, and the second leg, well, it was an absolute demolition. We ended up winning the game 3-1. Despite Bruges grabbing the next goal, we managed to run away with this one and book ourselves a slot in the semi-finals. Where once again, I think it's got easier. We're up against young boys who are making mistakes like that. Bellio scored to give us the lead in the tie, and we never really looked back. It was a little bit tighter than we'd have liked. The first game at home, only a 2-1 victory, and away from home in Switzerland, a 2-2 draw. But it's safe to say after that Juventus draw, we've had a pretty easy run straight to the final, where things should get much, much harder, as we are facing up against a defensive AC Milan. But from minute one, the high-press Brentford system was too much for the 5-back Italian side. An early goal from Kevin Schade in just 8 minutes gave us the 1-0 lead. We then got a penalty 11 minutes in to make it 2-0. And by the 19th minute, Kellen Fisher starting off a move, finding Yarmouk to find Kevin Schade once again. A backstick cross. Van Bommel had made it 3. And in the first half, the 42nd minute, the game was wrapped up. A 4-0 victory as Bradley Loco finds Kevin Schade at the back post, and it was an absolute dominant display. We smashed Milan from pillar to posts. 15 shots to their 7, a 2.73 XG, and caught them on the counter-attack. It's a simply fantastic result, and Brentford, we've ticked off mission 1, are champions of Europe. Now, due to having so many more games, we did drop off ever so slightly in the league down to 9th place, but only a 3-point difference down to 56, which I think is very, very successful. We have got Champions League football next season, and I am very excited to see what we can do with a bit of Champions League. Now, in terms of the squad, our best player, well, guess what? Yehil Yarmouk only played 10 games, 4 off the bench, but when he played, he was fantastic. We saw him score so many big goals in the Europa League, and that's where he really shone this season, which is great to see. I'm very happy we managed to stick with him. Ruben van Bommel is becoming a bit of a superstar in world football. Another 18-goal season for him. The 6'4" left winger is a little bit overpowered. And then Bradley Loco, the £6 million left back, already worth 48. I'm not surprised. 15 assists and an outrageous attacking stat line is unbelievable to see. Kevin Schade, once again this year, was brilliant in that right wing position. 27 goal contributions for him. And once again, Gerson Raksaki proving the perfect bench player. 21 games at the bench, 11 goal contributions, and not kicking up a fuss as well. He's not like he's unhappy. He's enjoying being at a big club, and he is proving he should be here as well. Anthony Walambo this season was our starting cam after Mikkel Damsgaard left, and he done very well. 21 goal contributions and 49 starts. Very, very well-rounded, which is good to see. In the league, in terms of our stats this year with goals, we dropped off a little bit down to 62, and defensively, we're still not quite managing to make a massive difference. We managed to concede more goals this year than we ever have done, despite a brand new centre-back signing. I'm starting to think because we're playing with attacking wing-backs, we're just never going to be that good defensively, but if we're going to keep scoring a bunch of goals and winning trophies, I'm not going to be that fussed. And then once again, we lost some of our stars. The thing with Moneyball is when you get offers in which you simply cannot reject, you have to move on. And when it's time for a player to move on, you have to know when. So Milan both 34 million, Mikatudzi 21, and Lucas Easkaville 14.5. And we also managed to raise £36 million for Sepp van der Berg, who is a rotational centre-back for us. So that's a pretty good deal. My cam signing to replace Anthony Walambo was going to be Mamadou Balde, a 20-year-old Spanish cam playing at PAOK in Greece. Has just had his breakout year with 12 goal contributions, and he looks like a very similar profile to Walambo. Very well-rounded, but great at winning the ball back. At 5'11" and having 9 caps for the Spanish under-21s, and this guy could turn into a star. To replace Georges Mikatudzi, we signed Kawa Ellis, who has just scored 24 goals in 45 games in Ukraine for Shakhtar, and he looks absolutely fantastic. He's had 2 great seasons now, and this season really become a better overall team player. His dribbles are fantastic, and I think with the way we play the counter-attacking football, he's going to be brilliant. His value here shows 39 to 46 million. I picked him up for just 16.25. In defensive midfield, I brought in Luca Gorna-Duaf for £23 million. The young Frenchman has just got a 7.3 average rating. And in an attempt to improve our centre-back positions, once again, I bring in Emin Bayram for £23 million. And finally, in goal, we bring in Leandro Bray for £11.25 million from Boca Juniors, and is the starting Argentinian goalkeeper. And I'm not surprised based on these stats. Now, I went big this season. Given it's Champions League time, we had to. We only sold 71 million plus the 36 somewhere of Sepp van der Berg, and spent 11.5 plus the 109, making it 120. So we spent about £15 million more than we raised this year for the first time. But given our financial situation, given the fact we're in Champions League football, and given the fact that I think our team is even better this season than it ever has been, I'm pretty happy with that. Now, for some reason, I've not mentioned the fact that Stine Larmans is also leaving the club. He is going out on a loan-to-buy deal to join Aston Villa. He's been decent enough for us, but I'm looking to see if we can improve on that with the brand new goalkeeper in Leandro Bray. This is how the team is looking with Bray, Coyote, Ayer, Collins, Loco, Stankovic, and Luca Gorna-Duaf. Now, Stankovic has joined the club from, I believe, Leeds United on a 7.08 average rating last year, 44 games in the Championship. championship, £14 million. Gonna do Shada, Balde, Van Bommel and Cal Ellis make up our front line. There is also some new signings like Miguel Chewa, who joins the club. He was playing at Hibernian in Scotland, signed for £15 million. Omar Campos is a brand new left back coming in for £4.8 million after smashing it over in Mexico. And I believe that is it in terms of the transfers. This team is very different from how it has been in the last few years, and that's either going to do really well for us or really bad. The media prediction is us now in 9th place and taking massive strides to try to break in to the top 6 on a regular basis. Can we make that happen? And how is our first season in Champions League football going to go? Now, of course, we were never expecting to win the Champions League, so we came 17th place in the league phase. In the knockout playoff rounds, we managed to beat PSV 5-0, which is a huge improvement. In the round of 16, we managed to also get past Aston Villa with a 5-4 aggregate victory, but the quarterfinals was where it turned around, sadly losing 4-2 to Inter Milan. But that didn't mean we were going to go trophyless this year, because we were facing up against Spurs in a final. And even as a Manchester United fan, I still stand on to the fact that when you face Spurs in a final, it's a guaranteed victory. Yarmouk scores to make it 1-0. Collins scores to make it 2-0. And despite a late penalty from Brennan Johnson to make it 2-1, we managed to run out as Carabao Cup champions. And then for the first time this season, we managed to massively improve our defensive stats. 16 clean sheets and only 1.13 goals conceded on average. It looks like the change in goal and centre-back has made a huge difference. We were now up as the 4th best defensive side in the league, and in terms of goals, we're staying in around that 6th place spot on 68 goals. And despite having a net spend up in 9th place in mid-table at around 37 million, our salary per annum was still down at 18th place, showing we were strictly speaking still doing bits with Moneyball. And with all that being said, we had our best season in points yet, getting 63, but finishing down in 7th place. Securing Europa League football, though, thanks to that cup victory. Norwich in 8th place, having a great rise, and Forest managing to stick around as the big 6. Manchester United as well. Come on, best team in England once again, 2027, and Super Ben Sesko is the big difference. That's what I absolutely love to see. Obviously, being on this massively updated database, we're seeing all the new teams have sort of updated things. I mean, I've just said that, and then Andre Onana's got the most clean sheets, so maybe this database is rubbish. It's not, trust me, it's brilliant. Van Bommel, most assists on 12 is great to see as well. And in terms of us with our goal scorers, we do have a new star with Cal Elias. He did grab 20 goals this season, which is great for his first year in England, and I'm very happy with how he has done. Yarmouk, once again, this year proving why we brought him up from the Championship. 7 assists, 11 goals, is just playing brilliant football, and I've really liked this approach this season of doing this, bringing players up and using them in the first team. Ouattara was great, good assists and goals from Brilio, as well as the backup striker Kevin Schade, another 19 goals. And yeah, we're doing absolute wonders. If you guys as well are really liking this squad view that we're using, obviously it's a much more data squad view than normal. It is all available on the Patreon down below for free, so feel free to head down there and get that. And if you want this Brentford save file, as well as the tactic, and at any point in this Brentford video you want to get yourself involved, well, it is available on the Patreon for £3 or £5 per month, where you can help support the channel and hopefully one day help me get to being a full-time content creator. So if you like the sound of that and you want to see more of these rebuilds, help me get there and help with the Patreon below and get a bunch of goodies for doing so as well. Now this season I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and I'm not going to dip into the market whatsoever. I want to see if we have built a good enough team to maintain position. I do feel a little bit yucky with the fact that last season we spent more money than we spent, so I'm going to counteract that and this year do absolutely none of that funny business. See if we can raise our bank balance even more and turn this Brentford team into an even better team by not spending a single penny. And that decision initially looked to be a very good one, as we are in a Europa League final once again, this time against Monaco, and Bradley Loco got us off to a great start just 8 minutes in. But Monaco were a pretty good side, and they scored thanks to a goal from Golovin to make it 1-1 and grabbed a second as well, as Rabiot drove down the left-hand side to find Bondo to give them the lead. Now, interestingly enough, Sena Larwens is in goal, didn't make that permanent move to Aston Villa and became our Europa League goalkeeper. But Stankovic had scored a ridiculous free kick to send us to extra time, where we then eventually managed to run away with the game. Yarmouk and Coyote linking up before Kevin Schade headed home to make it 3-2, and we secured the game 4-2 with Mamadou Balde finding Konak to put it in the top stanchion. Another European trophy for Brentford, and I think it's safe to say the experiment worked. In the league, we did finish down in 9th place on 51 points and had our worst defensive and goal scoring season yet, but financially the season out of transfers had done bits for us, and in terms of player progression, well, we were doing fantastic. Goal scorer Elias 19, Schade 16, Van Bommel with 11 and 10, and still proving to be one of the best players in world football off that left hand side, having a pretty big downfall this season, but I'm expecting that to improve once again. Now, next season, we're of course going to be in Champions League football, heading into, I believe, season number 6 of the rebuild. I want to see if we can now take a massive stride once again and see if we can turn this side into a top 4 permanent team. So transfers wise, we raised over £137 million, which is fantastic, making big profits on Valentin Antov and Leandro Bray and Dion Brenner-Brilio, who all came in for like between 10 and £5 million, and we managed to raise over 100 just for them. So I went and spent that 100 million and improved the whole squad. In goal, we now have Cal Santos coming in from RB Leipzig, a 6'5" shot stopper. At left wing, Gianluca Prestiani joins us from Benfica with elite agility. In central defence midfield, Mamadi Diambu joins the club as a really good, well-rounded DM from Salzburg. We then bring in Isak Johansson, the exact same, but from SC Freiburg. Such a well-rounded player. Sander Maas is a region that's come through over in Belgium. I've sent him back out there on loan, but just look how good this guy could be for season number 7. Alexandre Pentrea for 18 million comes in as defensive option to replace Antov. And finally, Anthony Descote comes in to replace Brilio as a new rotational striker. So this is our new look side, led by Kiao Ellis, Van Bommel, Balde, Prestiani, Gonadu Afan Diambu in DM, with Loco, Pantrea, Ayer, Coyote and Cal Santos in goal, ready to take on the Champions League. And a reminder that I now want to see this time break into the top 4. And boy oh boy, did we have a ridiculously good Premier League campaign. Despite starting off with 2 losses in August, we managed to beat Arsenal and lost to Manchester City, which there's not really much surprise there. We lost 1-0 away from home at Old Trafford to Manchester United, but it was against the other sides we were superb, including a 4-1 away from home against Liverpool at Anfield, 4-0 away from home at the Stadium of Light at Sunderland, and through the month of December, beating Manchester United, drawing to Chelsea and grabbing victories over Spurs. We drew to Man City in January, and all of that had proved to me that we were ready to really challenge for the Premier League title. And on the third from last game of the season, we were away from home at Stamford Bridge. We went 1-0 up and finished it 1-0 with a fantastic goal from Christophe Ayer, which pulled us clear of Chelsea but not of Manchester United. We finished in 2nd place in the Premier League this season, which is a fantastic improvement on recent years gone by. Just 10 points away from United, 10 points away from a Premier League title. We scored 77 goals this season, which I think is the most out of anyone. It is indeed, and only conceded 42 in 4th place. In terms of our data hub, the defensive stats just looked so much better than we have done recently. Again, 14 clean sheets, a 7.11. We have massively improved that over the course of this rebuild. Champions League quarterfinal by Arsenal, and FA Cup and Carabao Cup sadly didn't get past the semi-finals, losing to Chelsea in that one. But a really good season this year, and a lot of it comes down to having a true goal scorer. Cal Ellis scored 29 goals this season and is a ridiculous signing. This is another one which I've never really seen before, but because of the new updated database we're using, He's just decided to be a breakout star and he's fantastic. Van Bommel, I've never seen be this good and this consistent either. Despite that one dodgy year, this year back to his best. Prestiani off the right wing was fantastic. Yarmouk, now our starting cam, with a 7.1 average rating with 12 goals and 6 assists is simply fantastic. So happy with how the whole team has progressed, and we clearly are now very close to being Premier League champions. So with a further £40 million spent on 4 new signings, could we do that? Kevin joins from Shakhtar, someone that I believe has joined Fulham on deadline day. He got up to 7.85 average rating last season. So I'm expecting him to link up with former teammate Kjell Ellis and be a superstar. Lucas Ulrich comes in as a backup left back from Borussia Mönchengladbach after 9 assists and 3 goals last season. And Lucas Bryan comes in as a wonder kid defensive midfielder from the United States of America after a brilliant season at Pumas in Mexico. I believe there is one more signing. There is in Franciliano Giu, a striker who scored 13 in 18 last season. And of course, this season we have also got Sander Maas now at the club to be a rotational central attacking midfielder, which is very, very exciting. The new team looks like so, and I think it looks absolutely brilliant and potentially is enough to go out there and win the Premier League. Kjell Santos last season was fantastic in goal for us, and I'm expecting him to be in a bit of a weird turn of events. It was Valdemarsson that was in goal for us last season, which was very strange. 37 goals conceded in 31 games on a 6.94. I assume it was something to do with registration rules as to why Kjell Santos wasn't our starter, or if he had a big injury or something, because he didn't play a single game last year, which is very weird. So I'm expecting him to come in this year and be our starting goalkeeper. And given the fact that our starting goalkeeper was not that great in Valdemarsson, I'm kind of expecting this season to be a big improvement based on that factor alone. And we haven't really sold anyone this year as well. We have got players still looking to leave the club. Stankovic for 9 million, Deshkot for 10, and Campos going out as well for probably £10 million as well. So very similar in terms of transfers. Finance-wise, we're up to £176 million. We are stupidly rich and doing very well. And of course, this year, Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, but the one thing we must win is the Premier League. And the simple way to Premier League victory is consistency. Beating all the teams we should beat and give a good fight to some of the bigger boys. We were fantastic to start the season. Only lost 1 game in a 1-0 against Manchester City and then to Chelsea 1-0 at home. But every other game pretty much resulted in victories, including 4-0s against Real Madrid, including 3-0s against Newcastle, or 7-1s away from home against Lyon. Which meant in the Champions League, we finished in 4th place in the league phase, but then let ourselves down in the round of 16, losing 4-3 to Chelsea on aggregate. So no Champions League for this rebuild, but could we win a Premier League? After everything we've been through, we end up with a 2nd most goals on 73, the 3rd least goals conceded on 29, but the best points per game as Brentford are Premier League champions on 82 points, 73 goals for, 29 goals conceded, 25 wins, 7 draws, 6 losses, and the mighty Brentford, despite losing and drawing in the last 2 games, managed to win the Premier League. City fell off towards the end, which helped us out massively, and top goal scorer Ruben van Bommel is going to go down as a Brentford legend at this point. 28 goals this season from the left wing with 4 assists. This guy cost us just £14 million and has been a superstar for us. In terms of goals this year, he was the top goal scorer, but Kjell Elias grabbed 17, Prestiani grabbed 11, and our best performer overall, Coyote, and £6 million Bradley Loco. Thank you for watching the Brentford Moneyball rebuild. It has taken us 7 seasons to use all things Moneyball to turn Brentford to the best team in England. If you guys want to see more of these, make sure you smash the like button and of course subscribe to the channel. And next time, I'll see you for a full realism Sunderland rebuild.